All right, today we are stitching out the little autism heart key fob in the hoop, and we have hooped 2.5 ounce, I think, like a medium weight cutaway in a 5x7 hoop. And this first step is simply stitching a placement line for whatever we're going to use for the front of the key fob. In this case, I'm using some marine vinyl. It's pretty easy to find. You can find it in, like Hobby Lobby has it. I know there's lots of online stores that have it too. But I've cut a piece to fit right over that placement line. It's going to overlap it just a little bit, and all the measurements are going to be in the instructions that are included with the design. We always include step-by-step instructions that have photos of every single step so that you won't get lost. And sorry about that. I forgot to turn my phone down. Anyway, you will find pretty good instructions with all of our designs. So we've taped that in place. I've used 3M. It's a medical tape, transport tape that I use because if the needle goes through it, it doesn't gumming up or anything. I use it a lot in embroidery, and you can even peel it off and reuse it several times before it loses its stickiness. So now we have that taped in place. We're actually stitching out the design itself, which is going to stitch out the design itself. I know I'm really tiny on here, but it's going to stitch out the pieces of the little heart-shaped puzzle piece right there, and it'll stitch the red. And I think the green is next. I've sped this up a little bit so it doesn't take as long in the video for me to show you what it does. Because we want to do this quick since the video, I'm not sure how long it takes. I usually stitch everything out at about 600 stitches per minute. I know it's slow. I really never run my machines very fast at all. Even my commercial machine, I run it at like 750 tops, and I think it goes up to 1,000 or something like that. But I don't like the noise the machine makes when it's sped all the way up like that. So I prefer to stitch slower. It's less thread breaks, less harder on the machine too. So that's why I do it. But anyway, that's what I'm stitching this out at, 600 stitches per minute. You can do whatever you want here. I am using a 7511 needle. So it's just a regular needle going through that marine vinyl like this. And this design has 5 colors in it. It's got the red and the green and blue and yellow, and then it's got a white outline around it, or you can choose a black outline around it. Totally up to you. I kind of like it with the white. So what you'll see when it's stitching, it stitches down an underlay, which attaches the marine vinyl to the stabilizer. It just binds it all together so that it doesn't move, and then it comes back with the fill stitch on top of that. And now we just have to stitch the yellow out. And these little key fobs, most key fobs are pretty quick and easy to do, so they make good gifts. You could probably use this as a fundraiser. It is April, it is Autism Awareness Month. And fun fact, the person who digitized this design and the person who digitizes most of our designs, my son Jonathan, is on the autism spectrum. Also, he is on the high end of the autism spectrum. Used to be called Asperger's, but I think they have changed that now. Not sure. But he's very good at digitizing and pathing and planning things out. That's like his superpower. All right, so now we will do the white part. And we have just a handful of autism designs on our website. We are trying to put more on there a little bit at a time, since that is kind of near and dear to my heart. All right, so this is just going to stitch like a satin stitch that's going to put a nice little border around all the puzzle pieces on the inside, and then it's going to go around the outside of the heart and put a border around the heart. So it, wraps it up kind of nice and clean and neat. and you'll see what we did here, or what he did here was he put an edge run on where it would lay on the inside and the outside of that satin stitch, and then a zigzag to like give it some lift there above the edges of the fill that we just stitched with the puzzle pieces. And then it comes around, and by putting those running stitches around the inside and the outside edges of the satin, it gives it a nice clean edge on both sides. All right, so the next part is we're going to take the hoop off, but we're not going to unhoop it. We're just going to take it off of the machine, and we're going to put whatever we're using for the back of the key fob. I used felt on the back of this one, but you can use another piece of marine vinyl if you want, cork, fabric, whatever you want. The stabilizer that we've used and the marine vinyl gives it a nice thickness to it to start with. So if you want it to be really, not super thick, but thick, you can use marine vinyl on the back of it too. That 7511 needle will go through it with no problem, but I chose to just use a piece of felt on the back of it. Marine vinyl, if you're kind of rough with your keys, marine vinyl on the front and the back, if you're rough with your keychain and, it's always in your purse, just jumbled up with all the stuff in there, you might want to use marine vinyl on both sides. That way it'll be a little bit tougher, it'll last longer. It won't, tear or get too dirty. I always throw my keys just in the console in my car. I don't usually put them inside of my purse too much. And when I get out of my car, I tend to shove them in my pocket so they're not jumbled up in my purse too much. So felt on the back's fine for me. Okay, so we taped the back on, whatever you're using, we just taped it on the back. I got carried away chatting there. And now it's going to stitch it all together. So you can use matching thread. Here I used light blue thread, just like the vinyl that I chose, but you can choose a color that's really going to pop on the vinyl if you want to choose a whole different color. So it's going to stitch around the heart, and then it's going to stitch the top part that you're going to put a snap on. And now I'm going to stitch, it's going to stitch 2 tiny little circles. Those are the placement lines for the snaps. And I used cam snaps. Well, that's what I use most of the time. And you can see, I zoomed in there so you could see it. Just 2 little tiny holes. And on marine vinyl, even if you're using the same color thread as the vinyl, you can usually see it pretty good. You guys can see that outline stitch right there. Okay, so now it's going to go around everything again, about 3 millimeters or so, I think, away from the line that we just stitched. That is a cutting line. So if you're not too good at cutting nice and even, this design and a lot of our other in the hoop designs like key fobs and things like that have a cutting line around them. So when we take this out of the hoop now, we are going to cut on that stitching. So we're actually going to cut it out. We're going to use it as a guide so that the little key fob we can trim it even all the way around. So I know that helps me. I'm pretty good at trimming, but I know a lot of you are not. I've had plenty requests and plenty, nice compliments about putting that cutting line around a lot of our things like that. So here we're going to go ahead and take it out of the hoop. And that's when we're going to trim it. So you can use a big scissors, a small scissors, whatever you want, but we're just going to trim on that last line that we just stitched out. Get it a little closer there so you can see that second line on the outer edge. All right, so let's cut it out. Let me move it up a little bit so you guys can see it. See how I'm cutting right on the edge like that? I'm actually removing that last stitching by cutting on it. And it'll leave little tiny pieces of thread, so you can just get them off with your fingernail, or, you know, just rub the edges after and it'll come out. But it does give you, you know, a guideline to get nice straight edges all the way around. And you can use, when we finish this up, you can use a split ring or a clasp. I cannot remember what you call these things. It's kind of like a little D-ring with a clasp on it. So if you want to swap, you know, key fobs out, this makes it nice and easy because you can just take it off. All right, so we have it all cut out. See how nice and neat it is all around the edge? If you have to clean up anything, just grab a tiny scissors, clean it all up like that. Really easy. These are good projects for kids to do too, if you want to let your child or grandchild do a project on their embroidery machine. It's not going to take very long at all. You know, this is like a 20, 30-minute project from start to finish at the most. And it's a good way to introduce them to machine embroidery. It's easy. They can make cute little key fobs and hang them on their backpacks or purses or sports bags. All right, so now all we have left to do is put the snaps in. And like I said, I am using cam snaps. And while I do have one of the bigger tabletop presses, I'm going to use the hand press here. This is just the size 20 regular ones. They're not long, you know, the long prongs or anything. These work just fine. And I have some that match the light blue vinyl here. And you'll need the little thing, I can't even remember the name of it right now. The thing that you're going to poke a hole in the vinyl with right there. You'll need 2 of the snaps, and then one of each, the male and female, other parts of the snap. So we're going to poke a hole in there. All. That's what that is. AWL. It just came to me. So just poke a hole right in the middle of it. Go all the way through. That'll make it easier for you to get that snap in there. We have those circles there, so it'll go in the right place. Did I say that right? All. And then just push your snap through. Push it all the way in like that. You can put the other one at the same time because it's going to fit tight. The little thing I used to make a hole doesn't make too big of a hole, so it still fits in there tight. And put the other side on, and then you're just going to put that in the can snap hand press or whatever kind of snaps you're using. Follow the directions for the snaps that you use. I'm just going to trim that up because those are the tie-in and tie-offs. I'll trim it so it doesn't stick out from behind that snap. And that's about it. All we have left to do is put the split ring on or the clasp, whatever you want to use for that. All right, so we have our clasp and our split ring. You can use either one on there. Just pop it in and snap it closed, or you can just snap it on your existing O-ring, a split ring that you have your keys on. Either way will work. Doesn't really matter. And you have a nice quick little key fob. And I just wanted to show you guys how easy these are to make. So if you want to see any of our other videos, just click the subscribe button below this video and you'll get a notification anytime we do a new video or tutorial. We would love to have you join us and watch it, and we hope to see you soon. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.